Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Boothe podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is Monet Morgan. We've known each other a little over 2 years now, but I've known of you for a while. She's best known for her short films Cody and Woolly Hair. Woolly Hair was into the Aesthetica Film Festival. I always get that wrong. Aesthetica Film Festival, the BAFTA qualifying film festival, and then she's just an all-round great director. We actually collaborated on a short film, a micro short film called Dinner with Peter last year for a rain dance competition. So yeah, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome to the show, Monet.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a beautiful introduction, I must say. Thank you for that. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to
Great.
speak with you.
Well, as I said, that I first saw your film Code D, and I remember I was invited to the screening of it because that's with Richard Catter and what's his production company's name again?
Yeah, there was Richard Qatar, I believe. It might have been the same one that also had Andy Amadi as well. It could be that one because I think there was two. One, two. No, it was the same one. I believe. And I think starring in Richard's one is Kingsley Amadi, I believe. And oh god, another one too. But he's gonna kill me. Anton. I think Anton. Yes, Anton. Can't remember his surname, but at least I got your first name. So don't kill me. Anton. I believe. I think that's On Duty.
Yes.
I think called On Duty. It was their film from it. Yeah.
Because I was invited to the screening by Temi. You know, she writes all their films in the whole team. And so, yes, I remember.
Temi is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Temi is awesome. She's amazing.
These films are amazing. I remember watching Code D and it was like final major uni project. I was like, yo, putting me to shame. I remember watching it like, I wish I could do that when I was at uni. So I remember doing that. And then I remember I just found you on social media. I was like, I have to follow this girl. She's so talented. And then I remember I DM'd you. I wanted to work with you on my web series, which now got debunked.
Yes.
But yeah, because I want you to come as a director, but then that just kind of went left. But we stayed in contact, you know how it is in this industry. So it's great to see you progressing forward because now you work with Carl, who I introduced you to, and he's great, who DP'd on Woolly Hair. And you worked with Princess, who I've known for years. And now she's in Talia Versus, the pilot I did. So it's all a small
It's good. It's just good that you can meet people and just off the energy, the vibe, just having that like-minded aspect creatively. We could all bounce off each other and work with each other as well. So I just think it's a really good industry we have. And even if we make it niche to like our demographic, culture, ethnicity, like we are all very talented, and it's just really lovely that we can help each other out and work together and elevate together. So it's awesome.
I agree. So how did you get started in film and TV? Like what was your passion? Why did you want to get into it? How did you get here to where you are now?
It's interesting. I don't know if it's interesting, but it's a really cute, I say cute story. I remember when I was in secondary school. I'm from Northwest. I was really close to say high school, but I know I get told off all the time. Secondary school, we're not from the States. But yeah, in secondary school, I think I was in like year 8, and I used to write like narrative stories. It was just like teenage love stories. We're in high school type of stuff, and I used to write it on Word, and I used to print it out. I gave it to somebody to read, and then all of a sudden it became something that everyone read, whether it was in English class or something. And I remember people coming up to me in the playground asking for the next chapter, and I was so confused. I was like, what are you talking about? And then it became a thing where I eventually kept writing, put it on Wattpad, where I don't have to like give people files so they go to the library to print out. Like it's on the website now. And that was like a little taste of people actually enjoying and being interested in my storytelling. So fast forwarded to like college times. I completely failed A levels, which was like a very pivotal moment where I felt like I was a failure. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's A levels, you know. So anyone that's, you know, in college and stuff, like you still have life, you still have time, and it's not the end of the world. But I felt like it was the end of the world. But the one subject I did do okay in was media. And I remember my mum had a conversation with me, and she just said that, you know, maybe I should look into just solely focus on that. So I took that and I done BTEC as media and production. And that's when I got a taste of filming, because it was just writing at that point. And yes, so when I knew I could film what I wrote, then I was like, okay, great. I can see me doing this. This was about 17 years old. And then we had a module where it was a short film where you had to write a script and then go out and direct it. So I think that was like a pivotal moment where I was just like, okay, I like this. I'm good at this. This falls, it made me feel complete. And then I just wanted to do film, because that was the aspect where I felt all these emotions, and I just felt like, oh my God, wow. So then university, I done film production for 3 years at Southampton Solent. And yeah, that was great. It was great for what it was. I learned a lot, mixed and mingled with different people that liked and wanted to pursue sound. There was people that wanted to just, you know, be a camera DOP. There was other people that wanted to be directors. When you come in, everybody wants to be a director, and then slowly people fizzle out to where they actually want to be. But I stuck to being a director, and I just always used to write. And I think in the middle of that, I was trying to do my web series called Brothers in Suits at the time. And yeah, so that web series didn't materialize. It just didn't come through. It does happen sometimes. It was sad at the time, but thinking about it now, it's a good idea that can, you know, do something in the future, which I might think about. But yeah, that's basically how I started. Like, it was kind of through the education route where I actually found you know, the love and, you know, just the aspect of like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And now I feel like if I am not doing that, I will feel like how I felt like in college, lost. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life type of thing. But yeah, and it all stemmed from just me wanting to tell stories when I was 14 years old. So that's why I always make the link when I almost try to introduce myself. Yes, I'm a writer, director, filmmaker, but I'm a storyteller, because that, I feel like that was like the start of my journey, wanting to tell stories, whether it was just writing it on, you know, Word document as like stories, like a little novel, to now writing scripts and converting it into a visual, into a short film, or into whatever visual platform. So that's how I got started from the beginning. And yeah, I think the passion just kept me wanting to look for opportunities. And most of the times, through my experience, the opportunities was almost feels like it was there, but it wasn't there at the same time. So I always had the approach, because I wanted to tell stories and I wanted to be seen or heard, more heard than seen, to just do it myself. So one of my first ever short films was right after college, and it was called Double Crossing. I think that's even on YouTube now. And yeah, I wrote the script, and I was looking for the main actor, and the main actor was called Tolo Tariba, who I actually worked on Cody, which was my graduation film. So we kept that you know, creative and working relationship. He's like a brother to me, like an older brother to me. And yeah, just through this journey, you get to meet, like I've been saying before, get to meet really good people. Along the way, I met this really cool man. He's my friend. He's almost like my, I don't even know how to describe him. He's just like someone that I don't feel like I could live without. That's Remy Moses. He's a very talented filmmaker, and even through the last year of uni and afterwards, we always worked together. So he helped with my graduation film. So yeah, that's just a little aspect of like how I got into it, and just how you can meet people in the way, and how how close you guys, as in the people who you meet, can elevate with each other and just grow and create and just become who you want to be as whatever it is we want to be, if it's a filmmaker, if it's an actor, and just share achievements, champion each other, and etc. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my story. I was thinking I was rambling on for a little bit, kind of lost where I was going, but yeah, that's kind of how I started from that route.
That's great. I love hearing everyone's journey. That's like, this is my 17th interview, and there's so many, everyone's journey is different to how they get to where they want to be and what makes them realize that they are a writer, director, producer, whatever. And it's great to hear that. And I feel like you made really good points, like especially when you was in A level and how you said you failed and then you went into the B Tech. I did a B Tech course as well, B Tech film and media. And those courses are underrated because writing and doing theory isn't going to prepare you for this industry or what you want to do. Actually doing it and being practical and actually getting the feel of it, that's what helps you kind of get onto your creative path. And people need to do more of that. If you want to be creative, do a B Tech. Don't sit there doing essays all day, because at least with B Tech you get a mixture, you know. And I know you went to Southampton. So I love that uni. My best friend went there, so I was down there all the time. So yeah, that's a great course as well. So like, yeah, I feel like you had the great foundation you had a great foundation to really get to where you are now. And like the work you do with Remy and like is great. And it's also the power of networking across. It's not always just about who's at the top, or you got to network across to be able to get to where you want to be and literally build genuine relationships, because that's helped me in my career and that's helping you now as well. So that's great. So what was your inspiration what was your inspiration behind Cody and then Woolly Hair? What was your inspiration and how did you come up with those stories?
Yes, Cody was interesting because like I briefly mentioned, I was doing my web series at the time, because that is all I wanted to do. That was my baby that was growing in my stomach for more than 9 months. Let's just say about 13, 14 months. I was ready for it. I had all the episodes and everything, and we were filming it. Got a great location, and we was filming it, and this was approaching my final year. And how it works in my university is that you pick your groups. So because I was filming this web series, there was a day that you start, I think in late September, and I was very content to joining university for third year in somewhere around mid-October, or even the first week of October. I knew I was going to miss like a couple of weeks because I just wanted to make sure I got everything filmed. By the time I got back, everyone was in groups. I was left alone, and there was like a certain number of people per group, and everything was filled. So I was just like, "Ooh, okay, maybe I didn't judge this properly. Maybe I should have sorted this out before." And then there was a little bit inside me actually felt like people would approach me because I felt like I was one of the strongest students in my course, in order to have me on their team so we could make a really dope final year project. And that didn't happen. So I was a little bit nervous. So what happened is I actually had to group with other people that were not in my course, but they kind of had almost the same syllabus where they had to make a final project, but they weren't in my course. Never worked with these people before. I felt like it was completely unfair, and I made my concerns be known to the head of the department. But at the same time, I feel like they knew there was going to be a dynamic like this, and I just happened to be one of those people. So I was a little bit uncomfortable because I felt like at the time, I guess this is being prejudiced, the people who I ended up having to, it was like the leftovers people having to group up with, their passion wasn't it wasn't aligned as mine. So if I wanted to do like group meetings, they weren't really, there was one that was on board and the other two wasn't. And I was a bit concerned. So I kind of took the initiative to just be like, well, I know I want to achieve the best possible grades. So I had to play catch up. And with that, I knew I was going to cast my friend Tola Tariba, who's an actor. And I remember him telling me an idea. So the whole aspect of Cody is actually his idea. So he told me this idea, and I called him. It was kind of late, maybe about 11, and I just asked him to say the idea again because I needed to act fast. And once he, rehashed the idea, I just told him, okay, we can do this film, and obviously you're going to be casted as, the main guy. But it will be for my final project. And what the good thing is that this film would have to be created because it relies on my grade, so it would be done. That's the good thing about it for him. He wanted a short film to be done. He done some projects that didn't materialize, so this was mutual for both me and him. And we got the short film made. As a university student, they have equipment, and this was the first time that anyone got to use the new Arri Alexa minis.
Wait, Arri Alexa minis? What?
Yeah, the Arri Alexa. They only had 4. There was about maybe 12 groups. And I know I was playing catch up, but I was playing catch up on a strategic base. So I was one of the 4 people that got the Arri Alexas. It was a nice smooth fuck you to the people that didn't take me in their group. But so I managed to get that sorted. I was really heavily stressed because I was being a producer, I was being the director, I was going to write the scripts, and then I was also trying to motivate the other people. So what I did know is that I could also get people to help me that are not within the course, but who is in the course. It's their project, they have to take the main roles. So that's when I kind of got I guess my network of people from London to just like take smaller roles. I knew this person that was in college with me, she went to Bournemouth University. I asked her to be the producer, or joint producer, whatever it works. We also was working with Laville. I think they're Laville or Laville too. I don't think they're TV anymore. It's just Laville. Ola, if I got that wrong, I am so sorry. But it's Laville. Laville was the main one, and this is when they were starting out. And I had a conversation with them in aspects of like seeing if they would like to be on board, help with the casting process, and any other producing aspects of the film. So there was people that helped out in different departments, which made me feel a lot better, and it was less stressful, but it was still stressful. And majority, it was, some was filmed in Southampton, some was filmed in London. As you could tell, some was definitely filmed in London from the opening scenes and credits. But yeah, it was a learning curve because there was like an aspect, I think that would answer one of the other questions, but there was something that happened within Cody that was quite scary. It was a really good project to work with different people. One of the actors, I think he was based in Germany. We had to fly him in. That was the first time in my early stage of creating films and working with people, having to work with someone that was not in the same country and sorting out all of that. So yeah, it was a good process with Cody. Cody was the graduation project where I guess I wanted to make my directing style quite clear. I worked a lot on how I wanted things to look, how I wanted it to feel in certain scenes. When I was speaking to Tola with the script, and I was just trying to make sure that, okay, it might have, I guess, guns and whatever, but I also wanted to make sure that there was like there was an essence to the story. It wasn't just based on that. There was something that was pulling the characters, where it had meaning for them to, do things that were almost illegal or something, where we could fall in love with the characters. Like, they have a good heart. Sometimes in life there are people that end up in situations, and it's, probably with their environment, but deep down they're good people. They're just trying to live. So I kind of wanted to really make sure that stuck out in the short film, in the story. And it was just a good way for me to almost experiment, because I know I'm going to create more. And although I wanted to make a stance, I also wanted to try things and see if I could elevate visually as a director, working with actors, knowing how to block, knowing how to communicate with actors, use certain vocabulary, rehearse. It was everything that I now use as just the base, when I'm working on projects now. So yeah, Cody is just a special project, and I almost look at that project as something where I was able to do and learn, and I know where my voice is moving forward. So there's aspects of Cody that I would cringe if people were supposed to play it, because I'm like, oh, I don't really like that. It happens, as you elevate. But I also remember when I'm cringing, like how much that's shaped me. So yeah.
That's really good. I mean, hearing your story brought me back to university and how much I hated it. I remember I was appointed a director of a final major project, and those losers, they weren't doing anything. Like, we had a deadline to get certain things done, and they just sitting around casual doing nothing. The producers, and I was like, you know what, this is my project, so I would produce this. So I started getting actors and I started doing everything. So I was like, this is my grade too. Uni is so stressful because it just feels like, you know, they have this fu attitude just to everything, like I'll do it at my own time, or I've got more important things to do, and it's like we're all being graded on this, so it's like, where's
Yeah,
the yeah, but that's so
that's
great
the
that
one
you.
thing with that's the one thing, sorry to cut you off, that's the one thing about university with the what's the word, the productive courses, is heavily group work. And that is the only thing I hated, especially if I was grouped with people that seems like they went to university just to get a degree. They have no, like, they're probably going to get this degree and do something else. So it's kind of unfair to the people who actually are serious about that art and that course. So that's one thing I would agree with, like, because it's your grade, you want to make sure you're doing everything, you have everything, you're doing the best you can do, and you just wish people just reciprocate that same energy while they're on the same group as you. We're going to get the same, we're going to be graded the same. So I completely, definitely, that resonates with me a lot.
And it's something that you kind of get to learn as you become an adult and you're in this industry professionally. It's, you still kind of end up working with those same type of people where they don't have the same passion or drive, or you the same work ethic as you. So it's like, well, if my name's attached to this, I want to make sure this is going to turn out good. So it's like not everybody has that, and so it really is about finding that team. And it's so great that you was able to get so much outside support to help you with it, and that's great. Another bit what you said about how sometimes you look back at it and cringe at certain areas. I totally understand that. I think every filmmaker says that about their first film, and it was good that you mentioned about you were able to just experiment a lot while you were making that, because that's good to know and for other people to hear, only because some people always are trying to make sure their first film is so perfect. Yes, you want it to be good, but at the same time it's so early in your career, you're still going to figure out your aesthetic, your style, your references, your inspirations as well, because there's so many different ways you're going to develop as an artist, and life experiences and so many things change you. So it's like, don't go crazy, like literally it's going to improve bit by bit. And I always say to people, as long as the content's there, it's fine, forget everything else. As long as the content's there and the story arc, what you wanted to tell, resonates to the audience, it's fine. So yeah, and you did that. So I felt, in my personal opinion, you did that. So it's great.
Thank
So what was
you.
like inspiration for woolly hair? Because I've been able to see a cut of it because Carl sent me his showreel recently, so I was able to watch it on a private link, and I
Oh, okay. I
loved
was about
it.
to say I haven't sent you the link. Oh, I need to say, if I haven't, then I'll send it to you after this, because I honestly thought. But
It's great.
yeah,
Honestly,
Woody
no
Hair.
bias. I really enjoyed it. I just loved, not to give too much away, but you know, just the whole story arc of it. There's not that much dialogue. You know, Princess is such a great actress, the lead actress in Woolly Hair, and you know, it pulls off very well. So, what was your inspiration behind that? And I saw your little cameo in it as well. So, what was the inspiration behind Woolly Hair?
Oh my gosh, my cameo. A lot of people didn't know that, but yeah, that's cameo.
Yeah, they understand when they see it.
Yeah, no, Woody Hair. I think with Woolly Hair, I think the intentions behind Woolly Hair was to really, again, I guess almost said that with Cody, but with Woolly Hair, I guess because between Cody and Woolly Hair was about 2 years, so I done maybe experimental shorts in between. Some, I think one is out, one isn't out. And I'd probably done another micro short, and I worked on somebody else's film. So I was kind of always trying to find similarities of what I do naturally as a director. Because there's a thing where, well, for me, what I believe, there's things that you do naturally, and then there's things that you are intentionally putting in your work. So yeah, again, experimenting. But with Woody Hair, to come back to it, I wanted to be a little bit more intentional. So I think it was important for me to take something small and then kind of build when I say small, I just mean like the nature of the story. And then kind of build a nice little short film with it. And I was discussing with Carl, which is my DOP, I was discussing that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be intentional with the fact that I wanted to make it basically non-dialogue. And I'm a natural in terms of I wear my natural hair, be natural at this point for I think over 4 years now. And there's always been something about it where I wanted to kind of show that transition. And I took an experience, not just from me, but I spoke to other women who are also natural, whether natural in dreadlocks or natural with their curly hair. When they, stopped, putting their hair in protective styles, whatever kind of protective style it was, and they wore their hair out. When they went public, like outside, um, they and me and we all had like a similar experience of like people who probably do not understand our hair just having this aspect where I don't know if they are intrigued, I don't know if they find it disgusting, I don't know, but it's just something where you're watched and you're able to feel that energy. And I kind of wanted to take that experience and make a short film about it. And I wanted it to be very intentional in terms of when I was writing the scripts to kind of make that one moment probably almost the shortest moment, but you are following this character and feeling what she feels throughout. So in the start, everything's normal. You feel empowered. Then the experience happens and you see a complete shift in her energy and how she feels. And that was very intentional, where I wanted to make sure that transcends on camera and, through the performance of the actor, yeah. And so even with that, I wanted to be intentional with how I filmed it, because I wanted to make this short film specifically almost like the pinnacle of this is this is Monet, this is her art, this is how she directs, this is how she tells stories. And yeah, with woolly hair, it was a very, I feel like it was, with every film production, there's things that don't go to plan, that happens all the time. So any upcoming filmmakers, just be prepared to think on the spot, and know how to adapt. And but overall, I feel like it was very smooth in terms of what I wanted from it. I kind of got, with having to adapt in certain times. But yeah, with Women Here, I think it's a very special project of mine. It's almost, I could say it's like the recent short film, but it's not, because Dinner with Peter was done afterwards. And another short film called Him that I think is coming out soon this year. It's going to come out too. So that's done afterwards. And it's not even online. So I keep saying recent, but no, a lot of people haven't seen it. But yeah, with Woolly Hair, I just wanted to kind of send a message to people about not just the community, but just what women can go through in a very subtle way, and how that could affect them. It's very niche, because I think Black women go through this, especially women that have gone through that specific experience. Maybe not all women have had that experience, but the women that I've spoken to, and I could even talk to for myself, there's an experience like that I've gone through. And yeah, I kind of just wanted to make it really nice to watch. I kind of wanted it to be something where it almost feels art house like, to a degree. It's quite gritty. Some of the shots, it's like inspired from people that I look up to as filmmakers, and I'm just like, yeah, these shots are really great. I want to kind of like take inspiration and put that in my own work as well. And yeah, that was just a film that I kind of wanted to be heard or seen by.
Amazing. Well, I feel like when you said just now about how you made it very intentional, it does come across like that, because you understand the looks and the stares, and it is very reflective of the times we live in. As much as the world has to a certain degree changed, people still look at you like that. We get either compliments or fascination over our hair. Sometimes I'm at work and my hair sometimes usually a lot longer, so they're like, oh, I really want to touch it. It looks so fascinating and so cool. And it's like, I understand.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't touch our hair.
I get it. Like, our hair specialist, at the end of the day, like, our hair actually fits up. I mean, you don't just have boring hair. It falls down. I understand. It's fascinating. It's different. But it's something what we go through. We're not animals. We're not trying to be gawped at. So it definitely, that intention does come across. And I'm sure the audience did, got into Aesthetica, so that's amazing. So has your film festival run finished, or what's like going on with Woolly Hair?
Yeah, it's finished, because that's 2019 and we're in 2020 now. So I guess with some submissions they don't mind, but there's some that kind of specifically ask within the year. I don't know if, because we were in a pandemic, if they have taken that out, but I think it's been enough time where it's been put forth to festivals, declined from some, accepted by some. And yeah, it's at a place where I feel like the world can see it now. So I just wanted to, I've been thinking about, I think I'm doing too much. So I'm even, I should slap my own wrist, because I've literally just told people to don't do this. But yeah, I think I'm doing too much into thinking, should I put it out here? Should I put it out there? Should I even put it out? Should I wait? I'm doing too much with the overthinking, but I'm going to, I will release it this year, really soon actually. Whether that's just on my own Vimeo page, or whether I contact a platform and they're interested to, have it, premiered there, I'm good with that.
Right. And as a writer-director, who are some of your influences or inspirations?
So, man, I wish I had my laptop, because I had them all written down, because I have a long list. But when I go off the top of my head, it diffuses to very few. But most of them are like Black women filmmakers. I'm not apologizing for it, because I not only do I love their work, it's just really, I have to say this as well, it's just really lovely and beautiful to see, you know, Black women directors, you know, being given their flowers, you know, being praised. And, you know, it's just also nice for me to see, as someone a lot younger, people who look like me telling stories, and they're good at it, and it's being shown like on TV. Before, I didn't see that at all, or maybe I couldn't find as much because it wasn't being shown to me. I was really used to watching TV, you know, when I was younger. I'm not that old, but when I was younger. But now that we have like YouTube and, you know, internet, now you're able to see more. But so Ava Duvernay is amazing. I love her work. Some of these people might not be writer directors, but they might be writers. Like Mara Book Alki. Like she's just she's up there. I would even say Issa Rae as well, because like she's what she's done using the internet and then transitioning to TV is actually fantastic. And how she's done that through her production company as well, and just building that audience just from that, it's very inspiring. Gina Prince Bythewood, I also look up to her. Barry Jenkins, I love his work, absolutely love his work. He's like one of the directors where I would see something and I would almost try to like take inspiration from. So he's definitely a special, you know, candidate for as an inspiration top 5 position. I feel bad because there's probably like 2 that I should have said already and I haven't. Oh goodness. I like Ryan Coogler's work, from Fruitvale Station to what's the recent one? Black Panther. I think that's the recent one. I love every single thing he's created, and his journey is it's nice as well. I could even go back to like John Sillington, just from it's his early career part that really makes me feel like, you know, you can actually make it in your 20s. You know what I mean? You could be Oscar nominated in your 20s. Wow, I could go on. I'm trying to think of that list. I feel like I've missed people that I would never really miss. I said this. I don't know, it might come back to me and I might say it in one of the other questions, but those are the people I'm thinking of at this present moment.
Those are great choices, honestly. Like everyone you mentioned, them some of mine as well. And when you said Barry Jenkins, that I can really see the influence from his work in your work. I can definitely really see that, especially with woolly hair. I can see it. Yeah, because I could see.
Oh, great! Thank you. That's very warming to me.
Yeah. Honestly, I could see you doing like a Black love story, and have seen the inspiration from like Gina Prince Bythewood and Barry Jenkins. Because I mean, what Gina did with Beyond the Lights and Love and Basketball is just amazing. And then what Barry Jenkins did with Moonlight, and obviously If Beale Street Could Talk. Yeah, I see it. I definitely, once you said those 2, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely get that. So those are the goats. I don't care, fight me on there. I love their work, especially when you're looking at Black love. Yeah. It's a good reference for myself for a project I've been developing for many years now about Black love and all that stuff. So definitely, because just about the way they're shot, selections, the cinematography, the arc of storytelling, and really the way how they pull on heartstrings, like literally, because the dialogue I feel like is very well written and it's very to the audience. So when you're hearing them speak, they're like, damn, okay, like I haven't gone through a heartbreak, I'm not in that, but I hear like I feel what they're giving. So yeah, definitely understand that. So it's really cool. Yeah.
The one thing with Barry Jenkins, especially If Beale Street Could Talk, because that I've really, really, really loved that film. I've had a lot of people say stuff where they don't really, not people, like I guess the Black audience, they're kind of some of them are over the oppression, and them kind of films. And what if Beale Street Could Talk really did is actually, if you think about it, that story is a traumatic story that's going on, but for however he done it, it was less about the trauma of what was going on between the two characters, and he used love to kind of like draw the audience in and fall in and actually just fall with these characters and kind of show that aspect and really highlight that, as well as we're also witnessing something very unfortunate and unjust at the same time. So it feels less heavy, even though we know that's done. So if anything, that I really appreciate that decision making, if that was intentional. I really appreciated that, and that was something that I don't know if a lot of people like thought about that, but that was something that I thought about, because I feel like some pain is really good to show in, whether it's storytelling or in art. Pain is nice. It can be beautiful if you twist your mind to think that way. But when you also add another element to it, it really makes it feel a lot different, where you can look at it different. And Barry Jenkins, I just feel like there's aspects of like how his mind works where I really just want to take a leaf out of his book. So he's one person I would love to meet one day. But yeah, that was just something that I wanted to mention with about him and that film specifically.
That's a really good point, because I'm over Black trauma as well. But when I think of If Beale Street Could Talk, I don't really look at it as the trauma part of it. Like, that is the reality of being a Black man, specifically in America. But at the same time, their love story is what really pulled me in more, because that's what a lot of people have to go through. And yeah, I don't look at it as a trauma film. Like, when I think of slavery films, yeah, that's a trauma film. Or that new Netflix film which has gone on Netflix, which is about another Black man being killed by a cop. I can't remember the name of it, but I don't want to see that. That's too much trauma. Like Fruitvale Station, brilliant, loved it. I'm only watching that once. I'm not watching it again. Like yeah. So I definitely understand that. Yeah. So what's next? What's next for you? What have you got coming up this year and next year and stuff?
So what is next? Well, I'm still creating, I'm still writing. I feel like this pandemic, because I guess it's like the biggest thing that's happened, and it's kind of changed things for a lot of people in a good way, in a bad way. Maybe it's been indifferent to some people, but we've just gone through a pandemic, and I guess we're still in it. It's coming to an end. Who really knows at this point? But it's been interesting because it's almost felt like I've taken a very long time out, and I wanted to use this time to just solely write. And what was interesting is, even though that was my intentions, it was very hard mentally to kind of get my head there, and convert these ideas, put it pen to paper, or write it in note forms on a Word document. And yeah, I just found this pandemic a bit interesting, because what I done instead was to kind of focus on me and kind of understand who I am, and kind of do the work spiritually, and just kind of get myself into self, like really focus on self. And after doing all of that and manifesting like great things to come, even though I was feeling down sometimes, I was trying to be positive and just manifest like great things, and doing my little post-it notes, and then kind of watching anything that came my way during a pandemic. That was actually very helpful as well, watching anything that came my way. And with all of that combined, it kind of got me back into a place where I feel inspired again. So for me, to what's going to come this year, is very, very interesting that you were talking about like a love story thing, because that's been in the works. I even have the name for it, but I don't want to share right now. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, not yet.
I'll tell you the name for it off camera. But I'm either thinking I'm touring in between of that being either a short film or a short mini series. because I want to do this mini series and actually, you know, conquer at it, because the web series didn't work, and I just really want to, you know, do the series thing. So that could be it. And then I also have a short film that I've written, and I have a producer attached. So we're just going through the stages of, you know, development in, you know, making sure we have everything possible so we can possibly film it this year, end of this year. So that's what's coming up this that's what I'm working on now. And like I said, I think there's one short film that I filmed, and it was written by Tamsin Murray, and I think that should be coming out this year. But it's all up to her. So, you know, if you guys want to see that, it's called Him. Just hop in her mentions on IG and Twitter, because, you know, I think it's awesome. And it's starring her as well. She's amazing. She's a really talented woman. So yeah, that's what's coming up this year, content wise.
Great. Well, thank you again for coming on the show, Monet. It's been great having you on as a guest. Where can people find you on like social media and your work?
Yeah, so I have the same handle for all social media. So Monet Morgs with an S. So I'm going to say it all out because it might be confusing while I say it. So Monet, Monet, Morgs, Morgs. So that's my handle on Twitter and Instagram. And I have a website, www.amonetvision.com. Amonet Vision is my brand. And that's where you can find me, really. So yeah, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much again for coming on. It was a great interview. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. And just listen to this great director talk about her visionary. It was so great listening to how you came up with everything in terms of all of your films. So it was really great to hear, especially an in-depth analysis. And so not everybody really gets to get that from a director. So it was really great to hear. So thanks again, guys, for listening. Follow me all on socials at Kashif Boothe or Kashif Boothe Entertainment or the Kashif Boothe Podcast. As you know, too many socials. See you guys soon.